Welcome back, episode 23, maybe. If everything's gone to plan, on New Year's Day you'll have seen the video from Mini in the Park. And what I mentioned during that video was that I kept breaking down on the way back. Well, I broke down twice, and the second time it wouldn't restart. So we had to bump start it. Now, when I got home from Mini in the Park, the first thing I did was switch it off, because once we had the bump started, I never dared switch it off again, so in case it didn't start and I was by myself. And switched it off in the yard at home, switched it back on, and it fired up straight away. So I thought it could have been a dodgy ignition switch, which I think I mentioned in one of the last videos as well, that I changed because of this incident at Mini in the Park. But as it happens, it wasn't that at all. During the Christmas crack at the beginning of December, I broke down. It conked out 3 times, just total electrical failure, and I couldn't find the fault until the very last time when it totally broke down and I couldn't get it to restart at all. And it was the same. Fault. It was the same fault coming up each time. It would be driving along, and then all of a sudden all the lights on the dash and everything would go out, the voltage on the voltmeter would drop right back, and it would cut out and coast to a halt. But then after bump starting it, or trying to bump start it, it would go again. But on the last time it just came to a gliding quiet halt, going down a muddy shitty country lane in the pissing rain. And the best part of all this is, while I was trying to fix the car in the rain each time, I'm dressed as a giant Christmas cracker. So you can imagine the looks I got from people fixing my car by the roadside. And on that last time, it took maybe an hour to find out what it was. I went right through the entire electrical system trying to find out what the fault was. And it turned out to be the heater touching the terminals on the bottom of the ignition switch and shorting across those terminals and creating a short to earth. But it would go on and off as you went over the bumps, which is why I struggled to find it. You know, in previous times I thought it was just a dicky switch. So what it had done, it had totally melted the wires a little bit, but it obviously shorted across inside the switch, because the switch doesn't work at all. So what I've got today is a brand new switch from Mini Spares in Birmingham this time, because I was down there for work. I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to spacer the heater down to try and stop it from touching, and also put some insulation on the top of the heater casing itself so it shouldn't touch. So that's today's job. When you look on top of the heater and the tape, that little indentation there is where the switch has been touching the tape that I put on just on the journey back. Whether it's the switch itself or the terminals, not entirely sure, but that mark wasn't there when we set off after I'd fixed it. So this is the new outer, and then a new barrel as well. I bought the whole lot because I didn't know exactly what I needed. It's probably just the outer part, which is the workings, that's broken or melted or whatever, but I'm not entirely sure how you take this bit, which is the key barrel, out of this bit there. What I might do is I'll swap the wires across so I don't get them mixed up, and then have a look to see if I can just use that barrel or whatever. But I bought this one, so I might end up using it. And the advantage is, of course, it's got Lucas on the things as well, so that helps. I think it just pushes in, but I need to make sure I get it the right way up first, so it's not arse about face when I'm using it. The brown one goes to number 3. Where's the number 3? Shit. Oh, there it is, number 2. So it's like that. That one goes to number 1, which I think is the one that was catching. That goes to the next one, which is that one. And then finally that one goes to the 3rd one. Like so.
Don't use it for internet banking, it's not for that. And it won't convert imperial to metric or count calories. There are many things it won't do, much like Rick Astley. Well, I'd better be going now. It's been good to chat with you. Please take care.
The Screwfix sale is now on, with massive savings on top brands this winter. You can grab great deals on power tools, safety and workwear, and electrical, like the Dial LED sight light, now only $14.99. Get a huge 60% off.
Well, from that, from this one, I can't work out which way up the switch goes, or whether it makes any difference, or even how this inner barrel comes out, because there's a little pin. God, it's awkward working in here. It's a little pin that pushes in as you slide it in, but how you undo this pin in there, I have no idea, because you can't really get at it. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with that all. No, it can't. Well, it could be. Maybe you punch it out, and that's how you get it out. But I want to use this one because it's got Lucas on the keys, so it's going to look nicer. I wonder if it makes any difference which way up I have to switch, because it was that way. So if I put it that way, will it make any difference? Don't know, I'll put it the same way to make sure everything's right. Because the flat side's only going to go against this in the switch panel. You can just see that at the top there. It's only going to go one way. Yeah, so if I do it that way, if I put the key barrel in any other way, it's going to be upside down. So I'll just do it the same. Pardon me. So I think it's that way up. There's my key. Which way up is it? Jesus Christ, it's awful. Get it the same. Like that, and just push it in, maybe. Let's see what happens. Oh, maybe I need the key in. Need the key in. Put the key in, and then pull it back out. There we go. So now I just need to make sure that that is in the same place as that, so it sticks through the panel the same. So I'll just do a quick comparison. Pretty much spot on. So before I put it back together, I'll just put some tape around these bits to make sure there's no bare metal exposed. Okay, so that's the ignition switch back in. You can just see it there at the top. And I've renewed the tape that was on top of the heater as like an additional safety barrier. It's actually flame retardant insulation tape, so it's not just your standard insulation tape. And then I'm going to space the heater down by putting some washers under here between there and the face of the heater mount in there. I'm just going to use these if it'll focus. Can't tell if it's focusing or not. Yeah, anyhow. Yeah, that's it, focused. 2 of them per side, which is going to be easy said than done. Especially working from the wrong side of the car like I am constantly at the moment. Reaching under and round the steering wheel because I can't get the other side door open because of the space in the storage unit. Looking at that gap there, 2 washers might be a bit much, but better safe than sorry. I can run it for a little while and then drop the heater and just check for any marks on the tape to see if it's rubbing, because there's no way I can see what's in the back of there. So the next job will be to knock it out of gear and see if it all starts with your new key that I've lost. There it is. No, it doesn't. Oh, mind you, the battery could be a bit down. Oh, actually, I think the battery's well down. Strike that, I can't test it because the battery's flat. So, I know it tried to start there. You can hear it clicking the starter motor, but it's flat, so never mind. But yeah, that proves it works, even though it won't start the car because the battery's flat. So that's it, another jobbed. An unusual breakdown and cause for a breakdown, but at least I got to the bottom of it. Okay, that's it for today. I can't test it because the battery's flat, but I could hear the start motor clicking into action, which proves that the switch is working. I've uploaded a new map onto the ECU as well with a bit less fuel in it, sort of mid-range, sort of 2,500–3,000 revs, and took a little bit out of the start map as well, not the initial squirt, but the turns after that, because it is very rich when it's started, and if you start it and don't let it warm up properly, it drowns the plugs. So if you come to start it again for the second time, that's when you drown the plugs. So hopefully that might make a bit of difference, but I just need to do some road testing and wait for some better weather before I do some road testing. And at the moment I don't know when that'll be, might be sometime after Christmas, but we'll see. So sort of towards the new year when. So if it's towards the new year, it'll be a few weeks before this video comes out, if that makes sense, because I'm working on quite a long backlog, but never mind. Another jobbed and an unusual fault fixed. I only found one other person on the internet that had the same fault, and as I found, it was a bugger to find.